symposium. And Namaste, we are from India, so this is a picture from Bangalore, from there we are. It is very popularly known as the Garden City of India, but also of late it is very popularly known as the Silicon City of India as well, because we are the IT information technology hub of India. We are two presenters today. We were supposed to be joined by our colleagues who weren't able to make it, so two of us will be presenting. I am Dr. Soumyashri. I am a child psychiatrist. I work in the Center for Advanced Research and Excellence in Autism and Developmental Disorders in St. John's Medical College Hospital and Research Institute in Bangalore. And my co-moderator for this session, and with full disclosure, also my better half, Dr. Mayur, he heads the Department of Neurosurgery and the Department of Yoga at PES Medical College and Research Center, and is the director of our trust, which is called as the Yoga Environment Neuroscience Research Institute Trust, which we have set up in Bangalore. So before we begin our symposium, anybody who is familiar with what this place is, if you have visited Kyoto in the last few days? Anybody here know about this place? Okay, this is really very close to the Kyoto station, and it is called as Higashi Honganji Temple. So while we were on our way to our Airbnb from the Kyoto station, we came across this place and we just walked in, and it was really very beautiful. I think it is one of the largest wooden structures in Kyoto and has been built completely in wood and does not have any metal or nail that has been put. It is really very amazing. The reason why I thought we should have this picture here is, do you recognize this? Do you recognize this here? Yes?
Kyoto Tower.
Yes, it's the Kyoto Tower, absolutely. So, as you can see the Kyoto Tower from this place, from the temple. And the reason why we put up this picture is bringing us to the topic itself. We want to broaden the integrative approach of care for children and adolescents with mental health issues. So we want to bring in holistic approaches because we are all from Asia. Each of our countries are unique in their own ways, having various traditional practices that have been practiced and come through generations for many, many years. And how we can, yoga is one example from our own experience and daily practice in India. We bring to you a perspective of how we can broaden this integrative approach of care, bringing in, again, going back to my previous slide, modern science and our ancient practices and science that we already have from many hundred years together to help our communities and our children and adolescents in a better way. So I now hand it over to Dr. Mayur for the next part of the presentation, after which I'll come back and share some more things. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Okay. So, I am a neurosurgeon. I think many of you read that I am heading the Department of Neurosurgery in one of the medical colleges in India. So, why a neurosurgery is coming to a child and adolescent psychiatry conference? It will be an interactive session. We are very few people here, and we can enjoy interaction, and we can create something. This doctor from Hong Kong, he was mentioning about mindfulness. So let us be mindful in this room and interact with each other and see how better our consciousness can be at the end of 90 minutes. So what do you think? Why a neurosurgeon is here in a child and adolescent psychiatry conference? Just like that, you can answer whatever you wish to. What do you think? Why? Anybody? Alexander?
Yeah. I was thinking about, for sure you know the brain better than most of us, right? So I wonder that you have a better neurological understanding of stress and the brain.
All of us are parents. All of us are parents. All of us are in this game together. When COVID-19 was there, all of us got affected collectively. And our children are the future of humanity. And as parent, everybody is entitled to attend this conference. That is what I feel. And if we have knowledge, we should be able to share. And if we have questions, we should be able to share. If we have some solutions, we should be able to share. That is the reason why I am here today as a neurosurgeon. So thank you very much ASCAPAP for including our symposium. And you can see here one of the most beautiful convention centers you would have ever visited. Many of us would have visited various continents. And I feel Kyoto is one of the most beautiful convention centers. Yesterday evening I have taken this picture. And this picture itself, or being in this such environment itself, it makes us feel peaceful. The stress hormones, they come down, correct? And most of us, we are working in metro cities and we are away from Mother Nature. And that is where the importance of environment comes in the human consciousness. And as you saw in Soumya's slide, all of you were able to identify the Kyoto Tower, but very few of us were able to identify the Higashi Honganji Temple. So that is where we are. Our consciousness has moved in a different direction, and because of which we are facing the consequences of the same. So this is my talk, Yoga in Child and Adolescent Mental Health, the why and the how. So most of us, all of us are super specialists, and we all know that we zoom in a lot. We go to a particular topic like autism spectrum disorder, and then we zoom, we do functional MRIs, we do different connectivity findings and all these things we do, and then somewhere we lose the bigger picture. And we get absorbed so much that we lose the bigger picture and we forget why we are doing all these things. So that is why the why we will start with, and then we will see how we can do it. And those who are here, we will be doing a session for all of us, and we will be doing some physical, some practices, some breathing practices and some mental practices as we go on with this symposium. So it will be kind of a hands-on kind of experience. So as we see, this is very important, the science of learning. The science of learning, it includes cognitive neuroscience. So cognitive neuroscience, many of us know, the previous talk was about how the brain functions, and then the functional studies and all these things. And then how to teach all these things, how to teach and how to communicate it to the society so that these practices are there into the society. And then how the behavior changes, how individuals and how groups behave, psychology aspect. As we move on with this presentation, we will come to know how these things are important for a country. Like I come from India, and when I see Japan, I feel amazing, because my country there is a lot of crowd, there is a lot of chaos, the system is not completely set up. And when I come to Japan, I feel, oh wow, I am in a developed country. Why it is so? And that is because the science of learning has been advanced in Japan. That is what it is. So yesterday, anybody has visited this place? Anybody local here? Anybody from Kyoto? No. Okay. So you can see beautiful children, little Buddhas, correct? 6. And thanks to Google Translate, I was able to read this, the script of this plot, what it is written here. Child-shaped 6-body earth statue. All children are children. Children are a gift from heaven. A child is a mirror that reflects the heart of a parent. So this is the benefit of technology. Here I am not able to make out what it is, but as soon as I put my mobile, start Google Translate, I am able to read it. And you can see here, with such a beautiful statue, they are conveying a very important message for all of us. Child is a mirror that reflects the heart of a parent. So when we talk about children's education, we are talking about parents' education as well. Even though we would have finished our super specialties, it is not just that we have finished our education. Our education continues through our children as well. And that is what here we have the opportunity to learn newer things or maybe learn ancient things in a newer perspective. Okay. So this is a picture, once again, questions. Do you know this mobile? Anybody? This was our initial models. Can we put the softwares of today into this model? No, correct? And if suppose we try to put, what will happen? What will happen if we overload the system? It heats up and maybe the motherboard will break down, correct? Same is with the human body and mind. If we overload ourselves with information, the hardware is not ready to accommodate the software. Okay? And you see, if you want to run the software properly, you need to upgrade the hardware also. From 8 GB RAM to 12 GB RAM, and from like slower processor to a faster processor. Do we have such kind of facility in the human body? Do we have? Do you think we have? If you participate, it will be easy for me to continue. Do you think we have this facility?
I think we have.
Yes, sir. Can you tell me that, sir, all of us know that name, but we are not coming out with that name. It's a very one single word answer. Neuroplasticity.
Yes.
We have neuroplasticity. We have that capacity to improve our neuroplasticity, and through what? Through basically body-mind coordination. And that is what is all the ancient or modern practices, they lead us towards betterment of our neural connectivity. Okay? So that is what I am trying to show through this slide, that hardware and software upgrades, they go together. So if suppose we are all doctors, we are sitting here, most of us are doing the software work, correct? We are just thinking, but at the same time, how many of us are doing a meaningful, a purposeful physical activity where we improve our neuroplasticity? Okay, so that is once again the why. Now, as a neurosurgeon, why? I told you that I am also a parent, and as a neurosurgeon, I am operating on children. You can see here. Can anybody make a diagnosis of this MRI? This is a lumbar spine MRI. You can see here something white. It's a lipomyelomenigosis. So many of you might be knowing that lipomyelomenigosis is a neural tube defect, and through monitoring and all, we operate. And in these cases also, there is a possibility of children having various mental development issues. Okay? Can you play this? So you can see here in India, we are having basic resources, and through that also we are able to do some good work. Can we play this? Is it possible? Yeah. So this is a child before surgery.
Okay. Leave it.
Okay.
She is not able to do that, correct?
So you can see here, ideally this defect has to be repaired at birth, but already this child is grown up to 3 years of age, and we are late, and you can see the effects of that. Child is almost paraplegic. Now you can see the post-op. This is almost 3 months later. The mother has shared this video with me. Can you please play?
Nah. Come.
she's standing on her own and she's walking. The clubfoot orthopedic surgeons are going to repair. She's enjoying. She's dancing. Okay. So thank you very much. The next slide. Okay, yeah. So another aspect of mind-body coordination is this. This is at Bangkok airport when we are coming to Japan. You can see here one gentleman sitting with this. What disease is going to happen with this? All of us are going to have this. Cervical spondylosis. All of us. Correct? Because we are two-legged animals. You can see the other lady also. And you can see this kind of view in every metro. All of us are collectively becoming unconscious to the external environment, to the chair. We are forgetting about the ergonomics, and we are just falling prey to this small 200-gram device. Okay? The mindfulness goes away. This is one more. He is just 20-year-old guy. Just on the day when I was about to travel to Japan, same day morning, I got this L1 fracture for a 19-year-old guy, and I did this surgery. You can see here, I fixed the spine before coming here because he was trying to pick up coconut from the coconut tree. So in India, the safety of human beings is slightly compromised, and he just went just like that, without any safety precautions, and he fell down. So this is, can you just play that video? And this is him. Yesterday evening I asked my resident to send me the video of him, how he is recovering, because I did not have chance to see him later. No. So he has started walking. He was paraplegic at presentation. He has started walking.
Just a second.
You can see here signal changes, but he has luckily he has recovered. Next one. So another one reason for a neurosurgeon to be worried. See now these adults are basically not properly cultivated children and adolescents. If we cultivate them properly, they will not have risky behavior. This is head injury. He was going to college without helmet. Can you please play this video? And he had frontal depressed fracture and he had CSF leak.
Hey Rupesh, what happened? Accident happened on two-wheeler. Are you wearing helmet?
No, sir.
Now are you going to wear helmet?
Yes, sir.
Show your helmet. So, yes, can you wear the helmet now? Try. Yes, very good. You tell people what to do when you are driving vehicle. Tell loudly.
Please, sir, all are the people should
Hmm.
wear the helmet on
Be safe.
being safe.
Okay, don't drive
Don't drive
fast.
fast.
Okay, don't drive without helmet.
Don't drive without helmet.
All the best.
All the best.
Hmm.
So this is what it is. Means there is lot of scope for us to at any point of life get educated, become safe, and create a safe environment for others also. This is neuroblastoma. You can see here a large tumor. So basically a lot of my work is with pediatric neurosurgery also, and that leads to the requirement for all of us that how we can benefit and we can do something better for all these either children and adolescents or the adults who have not got trained in their childhood. Now there are some basic rules of nature. I will show you with this video, and you will see that some of the rules we have forgotten in the race of becoming the supreme-most race in on the planet Earth. Okay, we have, as human beings, we have abused the nature, Mother Nature, like anything. You see one example here how nature does not allow unnecessary abuse. Can you play this video? Has anybody come across this video by any chance? He's not going to eat it. Okay, why did this crocodile leave this deer? Anybody knows the reason? Anybody has come across this video? No. Actually, the deer was pregnant. And there is a basic rule apparently that the predator will not eat a pregnant animal. When it was like biting, it felt another heartbeat inside. And that is how it avoided eating or destroying that other animal. Do we have that level of consciousness right now? I don't think. Many of us, we don't bother about others. In the rat race, we don't bother. We just keep on trying to push others, and at least in Japan, I did not see that. Japan is a very well developed country, and people give space, people follow rules, people stay in one line, and you don't need dustbins to keep the city clean. So that consciousness, that higher level of mindfulness has been achieved in this country, and that's why this country is one of the best countries in the world. And that same thing can be achieved. Why and how, we will see. So you can see here. So this unconsciousness can be changed through this kind of consciousness. So me and my wife, we did a small session there only on Bangkok airport. We are doing something called as Trikonasana. Okay. So we did, and I did actually, I think 100 squats also I did. So that we have to try to do it. And when we start doing it, automatically it becomes a trend. Some unusual and unproductive things become a trend. In the same manner, useful things also can become a trend. So I think we can set that trend, and we can do better for our society. How is Ashtanga Yoga? Many of you would have heard about Ashtanga Yoga, and first one is Yama, second one is Niyam, third one is Asana, fourth one is Pranayama, fifth one is Pratyahar, sixth one is Dharana, seventh one is Dhyan, and eighth one is Samadhi. I will explain you one by one all these things as we move on, and the ultimate result of that is such kind of, this is, I think you can identify that is me only, and what I am trying to achieve is oneness with Mother Nature. And anybody into yoga? Yeah, so can you tell me the name of this pose, ma'am? Tree pose. Yeah, it's called tree pose, Vrukshasana. So as you can see here, now neuroscience comes into play. This proves that my cerebellum is okay. Correct? And my balancing is okay, my cerebellum is okay. Then my muscular power is also okay, motor power is also okay. And I have good neural connectivity, which is why I am able to hold on to this pose till the cameraman finishes his job and not fall in the water. Okay, and the results of all these things, ultimately what is going to happen with repeated activity of such kind, my neuroplasticity is going to improve. Can you identify who is this person? He's a famous psychologist. See, our colleagues only, very famous. Actually, he has given this 9 types of intelligence. Anybody knows about him? See, in our own field, somewhere we become unconscious. He is Mr. Gardner, okay? And he has given 9 types of intelligence. So one of them is naturalist. How much we are able to perceive Mother Nature, how much we are able to synchronize. So that crocodile had natural intelligence. That crocodile did not require USG abdomen and pelvis or USG obstetrics to find out whether the deer is pregnant or not. Then musical intelligence. So how much we are able to perceive. Yesterday evening we had a very beautiful musical performance from the Japanese folk artists, and we can understand that, and some of us will enjoy, some of us will not be able to make any sense with it. But actually our brain makes a lot of sense out of it. Our brain starts connecting these things, and it starts developing that neuroplasticity if we start getting involved into that. then logical and mathematical. Many of us, in a very premature manner, many of us, we start, coming away from the mathematics. We don't start seeing the mathematical aspects of, our lives. Then existential, what we are, how we are, why we are, all these things, many of us, we stop thinking about it. We just start becoming like robots. Interpersonal, many of us might be high achievers, but our interpersonal relationships might be extremely poor. Many of us might be good in so many others, but we might not be able to move our body in a healthy manner. Like we saw on Kurama mountain, yesterday we had gone to Kurama mountain, and there we saw some of the people, they were not able to climb up the mountain. They were like, no, it is not possible for me. That is where these intelligence, we have to keep on pouring one point every time and keep on improving these things. Linguistic intelligence. So, like our languages are different, but somehow we start evolving, start learning more and more languages, and we start exchanging cultures. And that is where linguistic intelligence is important. Intrapersonal, how interestingly we identify ourselves and we know our capabilities. Spatial intelligence, how we deal with the spaces, all these things. Okay? So 9 types of intelligence, and all these intelligence you will see are going to improve with our practice of yoga. So this is once again me. I am trying to give you the idea of what exactly happens in yoga. Yoga is not just a bodily practice. What it takes you is towards refinement of your understanding through your senses, through your ears, through your eyes, skin, tongue and nose, and how you can improve your speech, your bodily movements and your functional, physiological functions, okay? And all these things are happening with a very interesting level or a very interesting involvement of the ego, means the self-identification. And through that, we develop our emotions. And through these emotions, we develop our intelligence. And now, this is where the intelligence gets skewed. Some things we become, naturally we are better, so we feel comfortable and we keep on flowing in one direction. But some of the things which we don't feel comfortable, we start fearing from there and we avoid those things, and that is where our intelligence starts getting narrowed down. Now the practice of yoga will help you to purify your intelligence, and when you purify your intelligence, you will open up a very interesting aspect called as consciousness. And when you open up consciousness, you will start going towards better and better aspects of the existence. That is collective consciousness. That is the root reason for us why we exist. And then finally, what is our true existence? Okay? So this is one more diagram where we understand how mind works. So mind, we decide, Ichcha. Ichcha means our resolve, that I want to do this. Shakti means power. Okay? So we have some desire to do things. We have some thinking capability and fund of knowledge through which we act with our available power. That is Kriya Shakti. So basically what happens? We have desire, we have knowledge, and with the desire and knowledge, we try to act. Now suppose we develop better desire, we develop better knowledge, then we will be able to do better actions. Simple. But unfortunately, all this knowledge or all this way of dealing with things is not available to all the human beings in equal manner. And that is why, according to the environment where we are, we act. Now here, even if I feel like crossing a footpath without looking at the signal, I will not. Because my environment, I am seeing everybody nicely standing. I will show you. Okay, picture is here. So this is Japan. You can see here, the vehicles are going, coming, going, everything is going very smoothly. Okay, and people are maintaining a particular lane. And this is India. the thing which I am speaking about, environment. Environment. Here, you see a mother is carrying the child on a bicycle. Okay, and you can see here the vehicles have stopped correctly and the people are walking correctly according to what the signals are. One more. Here you can see the pedestrians are waiting. If I am in India and if that is me, I will run before this car crosses. Because it is the environment where you are and how you have developed the Gnana Shakti or Ichha Shakti. So it depends upon the environment what you are doing. And who is creating these environments? All of us. So looking at all these things, these children are going to be better citizens tomorrow. Right? And that is where they will avoid accidents. Traffic regulations, if you follow, accidents are not going to happen, and then there is no need to go to a neurosurgeon. And suppose in the same manner, it is pedestrian and car etiquette. Okay. So suppose if we are sitting properly, if our ergonomics is proper, then our children also will follow the same. They will see, okay, my father is not bending forward, my father is sitting properly. So all these things, what it is going to happen, what it is going to do, it is going to create the same impression without even you telling them. They will follow you automatically, correct? And that is why our continuing education has to happen. Not necessarily medical education, not CAB, but definitely continuing education has to happen. Now coming to yoga, I am going to into the core aspects of yoga, and then from here we will start doing some practices also. So I would request all of you to just keep off your mobiles and your all the things by the side and relax, and you can sit with your legs unfolded with your back erect. Make your spine slightly conscious. Keep the lumbar support nicely and try to breathe slowly, deeply and smoothly. Let us see. So what is yoga basically? Yoga is a Sanskrit word which derives from the Sanskrit root which is called as yuj. Yuj means to connect, join or balance. Now somewhere you see, when we see this somewhere we are unconsciously connecting to the habit of that environment. We very easily connect. That is also yoga. Yoga can be good also, it can be bad also. The connection can be good also, the connection can be bad also. So that is why environment is extremely important. And that is so, as we go along this session, we will be connecting with each other, and maybe after this we will be able to connect with our own self better. Okay, we are connecting with each other through knowledge sharing, but at the same time, all of us will be able to understand who Dr. Mayur is better or who Dr. Somesh is better. Like that, we will be able to understand. So this, the yoga knowledge was given by a very beautiful rishi or the sage. His name was Maharishi Patanjali, and he told something. Atha yoga anushasanam. Anushasan is a word in Sanskrit which means discipline. Which means discipline. So you see here discipline is there, it means yoga is happening. And if here discipline is not there, it means yoga is not happening. Simple. Okay. Second one, which he describes in further detail, it's called Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Means what is yoga? It is the tendency to sublimate the fluctuations in consciousness. Now I told you that if I am standing on the footpath and if empty space is there, my consciousness is fluctuating. It's telling go Mayur, run, before that car comes, run. But if I sublimate it and if I stand there, now I am in a state of yoga. Now I am in a comfortable position and I am not fluctuating myself to unnecessary suggestions given by my limbic brain. So basically what yoga is doing? Yoga is going to suppress your limbic brain and evolve your neocortex, basically. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. So all these things are just not like we read and it happens. That is why physical practice is important. Abhyasa means practice. and vairagya means non-attachment. So when we have selfish motives, we fluctuate very fast, correct? And if we are not practicing things, we become lazy. That place also our achievements are very, very less. So practice plus non-attachment. That is where we will evolve into the state of yoga. So as you can see, I was talking about Ashtanga Yoga. I have put the English slide now. You can see external disciplines we talk about. We talk about internal disciplines. We talk about postures, and then we talk about breath control. We talk about withdrawal of the senses. We talk about concentration. We talk about meditative absorption, and we finally integration of ourselves with Mother Nature. So you can see here asanas, which generally we see on YouTube, Instagram, and everything, are only 1/8 of this, are only 1/8 of yoga. But definitely they help us to expand on all the other horizons, okay, of yoga. So now I will speak about yama, and this aspect is universal. In all the continents you will find this. In all the continents you will find the problems related to this, and in different way the traditional ways of living have supported these phenomena, like ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence. All the human religions, they try to promote non-violence, compassion towards yourself and others. Then satya means speaking the truth. Asteya means non-stealing. Brahmacharya means it's not only about the sexual continence, it is also about getting into the higher goal achievement mode. And then aparigraha means non-greed or non-hoarding. As we saw in Corona times, many people you saw, they were hoarding from supermarket, they were buying in bulk and they were hoarding as if nobody else exists. So that is what is parigraha. And if we don't do that, then that is aparigraha. So now, regarding this, suggestions to parents we give in our work, what we do is, we try to tell the parents that you avoid violence through body, mind and speech. Now what it is? Bodily harm is very easy to understand. Slapping or hitting or whatever. Mind wise, giving some mental pressure, unnecessary mental pressure, it is through speech it happens, or through email, or it can happen, anything. That is mind related violence. And then speech. If we speak harsh words to children, what happens? They will absorb it, and their mental pressure and their mental violence starts happening. Okay? Then avoid false promise to children. If we do false promise to children as parents and we don't follow it, what will happen? Children will learn that okay, it is okay to lie. Okay? Then avoid losing integrity in front of children. So, some or the other manner we may display dishonest conduct in front of children, and that we should avoid, and we should not do it actually. Conduct yourself towards higher and altruistic goals. So all of us, despite our professions, we can develop altruistic goals. There are, and today morning when we were coming from Marutamachi to Kyoto, this international center, we saw a guy who was sweeping the road, and one small piece was remaining. If it would have been India, that person would not have bothered. But he bent down, he picked up, and he put it in the basket. It was amazing to see. For that one piece, he bent down, and that is the integrity which we talk about, and the higher goals which we talk about. Avoid hoarding and demonstrate sharing. So all of us need to share in one or the other way, and all of us should avoid hoarding, because when the hoarding happens, it starts becoming more and more complicated in different manners. Now for children, how we tell? We tell that okay, do not harm anybody, do not think too much, or do not take pressure too much. Don't speak bad words. Always speak truth to the parents. It helps on long-term basis. Like that, we try to educate them. Always use one's own things, and without asking, you should not use anybody's work. Never take without asking. And then conduct yourself towards higher and altruistic goals in a very simple, small things we can tell. and then share and care as and when required. So you can see amazing things happening when you are teaching all these things in groups. You can see amazing things happening. And then for us, what we can tell, when you examine the patient, when you see any family or any child, what you should see for the evidence of body, mind and speech violence. You should see for the tendency to the lying. You should see for tendency to use things without asking or stealing. And you should see for tendency to take high road. You should see the tendency to share and care. This will help you to understand that how much child has evolved. Once again, coming back to COVID-19, many of us had variety of understanding and variety of notions about COVID-19, and lots of things were there. And you could see many of the people were not even opening the windows, okay? And that is why WHO had to release that stay in a separate room and away from others. However, open the windows frequently, because ventilation is very, very important, correct? And know your risk and lower your risk. So like the WHO had to release such kind of templates for people to get educated, okay? And similarly, these templates are there for thousands of years. Young we understood right now, non-violence, speaking truth, non-stealing, and taking high road, and then developing non-holding. Here in Niyama we have Shaucha, means cleanliness, Santosha means being content, Tapas means developing idea of penance, Swadhyaya means self-study, and Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara means something which is higher to us, and developing devotion towards that. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. So this is my handwriting. And Shaucha means, just now I told you, cleanliness and purity. So this handwriting has been developed over a period of so many years. So I have taken conscious efforts to keep on writing, even if nowadays we are all on mobile and typing and all these things. I feel that writing with the hand, it is going to keep your neuroplasticity better. Writing is very, very important. This grasp is very, very important. We are losing this grasp, this pincer grasp, we are losing it. We should not lose it, because mobile we are able to run it with only thumb. So that is what we should do. And you can see being satisfied is important, developing discipline is important, self-study is very, very important, surrender and serving to larger than self goal is also important. So once again, for parents, tell them to keep the body, mind and speech clean around children. Being content means tell them to, you know what happens? Many a times parents will be speaking that, you know, I want to buy a BMW, or my friend got an Audi, I want to buy one. So that restlessness gets transferred in children. And then when they see in their friends something their friends have bought, they will also demand for the same. No, we may be able to satisfy their demands, but is it necessary that our children should learn materialistic ways of living? That we have to think about. Develop practices to improve body, mind and speech. Study self, science and spirituality. All the three things we have to study. And find humbling experiences. So what are the humbling experiences? We can discuss, like small things. Like today morning I am trying to tell, all these things are humbling experiences. But how many of us observe these experiences and absorb it? That is also important. For children, okay, child and adolescent mental health for children. Keep clean body, mind and speech. Be satisfied with what you have. Learn to exercise your body, mind and speech. Daily write few lines about yourself, science and what you learned new. And find humbling experiences again for children. And for us, we have to look for the evidence for a clean body, mind and speech. So in that you can extrapolate. Soumya will extrapolate in this. Look for tendency to compare, consume and grip. So if a child is, trying to compare, it means that parents somewhere are responsible. If child is trying to consume, it means parents are once again responsible. And child is creeping, it means that parents are also discussing in a very negative manner about their professional life or about their personal life. Look for tendency to be ignorant about body, mind and speech. Look for self-awareness and look for humbleness. So you can see here, this is a very interesting pinwheel of emotions. So all of us have these emotions, and I feel that at a very young age, that small baby girl is there. From this age, we should try to give these informations about these things and try to help them to identify these small aspects of emotions. And as we do that, we will see that they will be able to communicate to us in a better manner. And if they are communicating, half of the mental health issues are solved. Communication is the key. If they are able to identify things and they are able to tell all these emotions one by one, in 1 year, 2 years you can teach them, but definitely it is going to help. Now, you can see here feelings are the things which we are having. But how it happens? Through an emotional stimulus, which happens through amygdala, ventromedial, prefrontal cortex, and then it is unconscious part, and then enters into hypothalamus, and then insular cortex, and enters cingulate gyrus, and through that it goes into the neuroendocrine axis, and then through our physiological function disturbances, through musculoskeletal action, vocalization, body posture, and all these things, we are able to see these things. Okay? Now when we perform yoga, we try to filter and refine these kinds of stimuli. And this happens through that the neuroendocrine system gets a refined experience. Okay? This is, I think, penultimate slide. In neuroscience, the expression neurons that fire together, wire together, describes the experience-dependent neuroplasticity. Essentially the concept that our brains are shaped by our thoughts and experiences. This is what we are trying to search, no? In functional MRIs, in the neural circuits, we are trying to achieve that only. And according to Hansen, the synapses in our brains that fire frequently become more sensitive. Our experiences and thoughts can lead to the growth of new synapses and even change our genes, altering the very structure of our brain. Or as Hansen writes, the brain takes its shape from what mind rests upon. Software to hardware and hardware to software. So we don't have any socket for putting a new processor, but definitely through our software only we can change the hardware. That's what is neuroplasticity all about, and that is where there is a beautiful role of yoga. Now yesterday's Higashi Inganji temple, to discover the meaning of being born as human beings. All the religions come down to the same thing. Samadhi is what? Samadhi is integration. I'm trying to understand what exactly this body, mind and soul can do. And here also in Japan, we have the same motto, to discover the meaning of being born as human beings. So now some fun we will do. This one we will not do, but definitely these things we can do. Can you switch on the light? Okay, we will do this session. Can you please relax yourselves? On this chair itself we can do. If you wish, you can remove your shoes also, if you wish. Okay, so how to sit in a chair ergonomically is to take your hips as back as possible and support your lumbar spine nicely. You people want to come here, you can come. We don't need to change the slides. Please come. You are most welcome. Okay. So sit comfortably. Now one more thing, as you would have seen, I am aligning my legs with the legs of the chair. Chairs also have legs, and I have aligned myself. Okay. Now, close your eyes, relax completely. Feel your breath, what it is doing to you. Suppose you are using your diaphragm for breathing, then your abdomen will bulge on inhalation and your abdomen will sink on exhalation. Now gently take it towards your chest. Fill your chest also. Now from 500 ml, this engine becomes 1000 ml. Try to feel the expansion of your chest. Now gently try to breathe so much that your shoulders also move and they retract. If you are not able to get it, you can see me. Now at this moment you will realize that you might not be having the elasticity in the lungs because of lack of practice. Now I will give you one simple task. Start counting of number of seconds for inhalation and then number of seconds of exhalation. 1:2. Suppose if you are inhaling for 3 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds. Inhale for 3 seconds. Exhale for 6. Gently you can pause and gently you can open your eyes. How are you feeling? Could you do 1:2?
Yes.
What was the observation, sir, on when you did 1:2? Anybody wants to share 1:2 experience?
Mindful. It's mindful.
It's mindful. Yes. So you are continuously engaged into that activity. At that time, nothing else. Only 3, 6, 5, 10, that is only coming into your mind. When you are becoming mindful of your breathing, your consciousness becomes purified. It does not scatter. Okay? Now, gently, you can join your hands and press your palms against each other in such a way that very gently our arteries there, very small arteries are there, digital arteries they are called as. Try to feel the pulse at the pulse, means you can feel the pulse, you can try. How many of you have felt this pulse before? Anybody till now? She has felt because she's into yoga. So close your eyes. Try to feel the pulse. You may feel the pulse at thenar eminence also. You may start feeling the pulse at the pulp of the fingers. Suppose if you start feeling the pulse, just enjoy it. And at the same time try to do that 1:2. All of you are feeling it, pulse? Yes? Some of you. Okay, great. Now inhale and take your both the hands up. Nicely. See what is the range of motion of your shoulders. Exhale, put your palms on the knees. Palms on the knees. Some of you might be carrying or having these chairs in front of you. Inhale, take your right leg front and feel the stretch. Contract your quadriceps and stretch. through dorsiflexion. Yeah, feel it. Exhale down. Inhale. Left leg, stretch. Contraction of quadriceps. Stretch in the calf muscles through dorsiflexion. Yes. Exhale down. Now inhale. Activate the front part and look up. Extension of the neck nicely. And then glide your palms along your shin. Like this, you can come front. And then you can put your palms by the side of your feet. Gently relax all your paraspinal muscles. All the paraspinal muscles you relax. Suck your abdomen in. Gently inhale and lift your left hand up. And look along the left hand. Enjoy the stretch. Look along the left hand. Exhale, come down. Inhale, right hand up. Exhale, down. Inhale, come up. Both the hands. So we are coming back to the starting point. Exhale, Namaskar Mudra. So this is basically release and relax. This is basically called as chair Surya Namaskar. Surya means sun salutation, and it is for those who are busy, those who don't have the full capacity to start with, those who are elderly, and definitely in schools also we can do this, and you can practice it more number of rounds, like 12 rounds and all these things. So automatically you will develop this flexibility as well as the breathing control. Okay. Now these are the other things which I am not going to take, but this one definitely I am trying to slightly tease all of you. Take your left hand up and then take it back like this, and then right hand from down and hold your all the four fingers. Okay. So this is what is as healthcare providers, we should have both hardware and software up to the mark. Total upgrade. Okay. Latest processor and latest software. Both. Other side. So if suppose this is not happening, it means that you are developing some arthritis, spondylosis, all these things. You have to gently, see, one day it will not happen. Okay. You have to gently, you have to start practicing, and you have to gently start. Okay. And I can scratch my own head. So why it is not showing off? It is that we are not servicing this body. See, our cars and our bikes, our laptops, they go for servicing very easily and very fast. What about the servicing of this body? We don't do it. This is the servicing. This is daily oiling. This is daily cleaning, daily checkup, like this and all. Not for today, but definitely I have a YouTube channel called Mayur Kaku. Lot of material I have put. I get invited at various places there in India, including TV channels and various institutions like IISc Bangalore and IIT Mumbai, everywhere across the country. And I have delivered some interesting combination of things. I'm going to finish my talk with. Can you please?
The last one that you showed, the one that.
Do you want me to do it?
No. I don't want you to. I had seen a patient who was doing Sirsasana and got some serious neck problem, and then he came for 1 or 2 years. He was not my patient. He used to come with his wife. Okay. And then he was not coming for some time, and then he came. He said that he got his injury due to doing Sirsasana, and he had to go to neurosurgeon and all.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I want to highlight the aspect of this. We do start with baby steps, and then we reach to the higher level. Okay. Another thing is, that I have written an article about this on University of California, Davis. They had asked me to write about what is the importance and what has happened with International Day of Yoga coming into play since 2014. So what is my observation and what is happening? Recently also, before coming here, I saw one patient, they were not happy with what yoga therapy they were getting somewhere else, because there is a mixture of the yoga training happening in India with the boom of International Day of Yoga. So now people are calling themselves as yoga instructors and yoga therapists and so on and so forth, with 200 hours of training, with 500 hours of training, and whereas yoga is a way of life basically. So it is not like you come to my place, I will teach you 45 asanas. This is our package of teaching 45 asanas. No. For one person, there might be only requirement of 5 asanas. For another person, 10 asanas. Or for somebody, no asana. Right now, we have to build up something else. So it is tailor-made, it is highly personified, and there is no need. Yoga is not acrobatics. Yoga is not gymnastics. Yoga is altogether. I hope that I was delivering that aspect of yoga, the wholesome aspect of yoga. Yoga is happening on the footpath. It is happening when you are waiting for the car to pass. That is what is yoga. Yoga is not just doing some asana. I am sorry that I misled you with that photo, but that photo signifies that how much of physical and mental control one has developed over oneself over a period of time. It signifies that. It does not signify that my body is flexible or I am able to do that. It is not the strengthening of the ego through that pose. It is the release of ego through that pose. And I will finish with this. Actually, in my neurosurgery practice, I have a lot of spiritual discussions with my patients. And because of that, many patients ask me that, doctor, I am just 34 years old and I developed this brain cancer, and I am not smoker, I am not alcoholic, I don't have any bad habits, I am a vegetarian. Then how did I develop this brain cancer? This happened with me in August 2020. Then I had to go dive deep into his practice and understand what his daily routine is like. And to my surprise, he was working for a US based company sitting in India. And so basically he is sleeping in the day and working in the night. And all of us know that circadian rhythm is extremely important. The hormone melatonin is extremely important, and it was declared as a probable carcinogen in 2007 by WHO. But nobody pays heed to it, and most of the Southeast Asian countries, they are falling prey to this business process outsourcing work. Most of the youth in India is working in that manner, earning a lot of money, but at the same time at the expense of their own health. And one of the reasons of development of lots of lifestyle disorders is the same circadian rhythm disruption. And with that patient asking me that and then me delivering a lecture about it, I started conducting one class called as, can you please play this? In my trust, it's called Brahma Muhurt Yoga Challenge. So basically, to wake up 96 minutes before sunrise, wherever you are. If you are in Japan, then it is according to Japan sunrise. So, and then there is something, the need of all of us have to collectively become conscious. One or two people becoming conscious is not sufficient for, you see, the collective consciousness of Japanese citizens have brought them to this place, to this level, to this development. Okay? And that same applies to my country, and I am trying to do the same thing for my country by creating that collective consciousness amongst my citizens. So with that, thank you very much everybody for your patient listening. Now I hand over to Soumya for technical aspects.
Can I ask another question?
Please sir, no problem.
Then what about biological owls and larks? They say that
Sir,
everybody is not the same, everybody cannot
Yes.
get up early in the morning
Yes,
and
yes.
function well.
Sir, everybody's biological clock isn't set in a different manner, but overall as human beings, we are our biological clock is with retino-hypothalamic pathway. Now, in my talk, the talk is there on YouTube. I have talked about this light also, artificial light, how it disrupts the melanin production, the melatonin production, and the melatonin levels, they peak after 6 hours of we shutting our eyes off. And that is why even if you are sleeping or if you are not sleeping or whatever you are doing, if you are keeping the lights on, that also is going to create a lot of disturbances. And you are talking about the people who are said to have, they have somehow got habituated to that negative habit. It's not going to be as such great on a long-term basis for them. Eventually, many of them will develop lots of lifestyle disorders. We have to study them.
So I hope you all had a good practice session with Mayur. So for those who came in a little bit after I started initially, going back again, we are from Bangalore, and the theme what we chose for this symposium today was, a lot of you did not know what this was, and somebody knew the Kyoto Tower. So the idea was to bring in modern science to our ancient integrative practices and put all of this together, which is why we titled our symposium as Broadening the Integrative Approach, which is also the theme for the ASCAPAP of this year, that we're broadening the approach, the way we treat and help our children and adolescents with mental health issues. And as Mayur has already explained in detail, just to touch upon a little bit of neurophysiology, right from the stress response itself, the way we look at child and adolescent mental health issues in terms of brain networks, whether it is to do with the executive functioning, attention control, working memory, or if it is to do with how their emotional expression is, how they react to stress, how they react to various environmental inflammatory responses that keep interacting with them during brain growth, the way the epigenetic modifications that happen during the brain growth itself is what probably is the mechanism of how yoga impacts child and adolescent mental health, child and adolescent development itself. This was one of the articles which was published in World Journal of Psychiatry in 2021, where they talk about the therapeutic role of yoga in neuropsychological disorders, and especially stressing upon the fact of how yoga helps to moderate neurotransmitters, whether it is dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine, or serotonin, and has an impact on anxiety, depression, and other early and late onset child and adolescent mental health disorders. If I have to talk about neurophysiology and electrophysiology itself, there are studies which have shown modification of higher level of theta and alpha activity using neurophysiology, EEG based studies that have been conducted to show the impact of how yoga impacts EEG activity itself and helps moderate decreased stress response in children. There are also studies which have looked at how brain volume is different in those who practice yoga regularly, how brain circuits are different in those who practice yoga regularly. Again, when we talk about child and adolescent mental health, for a lot of parents, for a lot of practitioners, we know the expectation is something, but the reality at home is completely different, or the reality in school for a lot of children and parents is completely different. So we talk about how we have to teach our children routine, how we have to teach our children emotional regulation, understanding their behaviors, and journaling all of these things, reflecting upon their day-to-day activities. But the reality is something that is completely different. But in that sense, yoga can definitely impact general development itself in children, especially because, as you all have heard, that it helps in relaxation. A lot of times children are in school constantly sitting in one place, studying for a long period of time, are in the, like Mayur mentioned, in the rat race. They're in constant competition, they have exams, they have to perform every time there are assessments, and these kind of expectations in the society, which basically impact their relaxation, and their stress responses are really very high. So yoga in one way definitely helps them to relax. It can improve concentration capacities. You have heard from him about the mechanisms in which it acts, the various branches of yoga itself, if dealt in detail, can help in concentration. Of course, neuroplasticity, managing stress. It can also facilitate well-being, because a lot of practitioners of yoga are also here, or if you are interested in some way or the other, are involved in one or the other form of physical activity. And you know that a lot of times when we indulge ourselves in whether it is physical asana, yoga asana itself, or it is to do with, like somebody was saying, they were running, and somebody else is practicing yoga regularly, somebody walks every day. So all of these things themselves modulate neurotransmitters to a very great extent. And definitely you yourself can be an advocate and say that it can facilitate mental health well-being as well. And of course, there are many studies of late that have been done in blood samples of yoga practitioners, in brain, in fMRI studies in yoga practitioners, to show that yoga bolsters positive epigenetic changes. It can alter brain circuits when practiced for a long time. And of course, this can be generalized to other forms of practices that many of the South Asian countries have, whether it is to do with our local art forms, whether it is to do with music or the local dance forms, and all of these things definitely have a component of yoga in them as well. There is a very popular Sanskrit shloka which is a guide for child development. So it says, Lalayet pancha varshani, dasha varshani tadayet, prapte to shodashe varshe putram mitra dacharet. So this is a very ancient Sanskrit shloka which says, Lalayet pancha varshani, till the child turns 5 years of age, you care for them, you nurture for them, and you take care of them because they are really very young and their brain is still very, very fragile and is growing at a very rapid stage. And you all know this is the period of the golden hour of brain growth. Then dasha varshani tadayet, and for the next 10 years, tadayet means you discipline it. You discipline it by guiding them, you discipline it with teaching them various aspects of day-to-day life, you set a routine, you help them understand attention, you facilitate their brain growth by creativity, by inducing creativity, you facilitate that by giving them the right kind of environment to nurture their creativity, to learn a lot of new skills. And once they attain 16 years, so prapte to shodashe varshe, once they reach 16 years of age, putram mitra vadacharet. After that, your child becomes your friend. And then you deal with it as if you're dealing with a friend. You don't discipline them, you don't have to do anything beyond 16 years of age, because till then, as a parent, you have done your bit of work. Or as mental health professionals, we have done our bit. I know a lot of you might be familiar with this picture. This is from the movie, anybody can say?
Karate Kid.
Yes, it's from Karate Kid. So this is, I think it was based in, this movie was based in China. And again here they learn Kung Fu. And it's again one of the forms of martial arts, a very popular martial art, which you might have all heard about. We were reading a book on the plane where we were looking at what age can a child start learning all of these practices of yoga, meditation and all that. So on an average, if you have to say by 8 years of age, by 7-8 years of age, a child can start learning some of these physical practices of yoga and integrate them into their daily routine. But simple methods of meditation, not really closing your eyes, sitting and focusing on your breath like what all of us adults can do, because we are so much more conscious and have evolved to that level. But as younger children who are 2 or 3 or 4 years of age, what can they do? They can sing, they can chant a lot of prayers, which routinely as South Asian families, we all have, in our own cultures, we have a lot of these things that are imbibed, which can facilitate neuroplasticity, which can facilitate those mechanisms, which will enhance our attention, concentration and creativity in children. And of course, there's nothing like where the boys can practice, so there's no gender difference when it comes to practicing a lot of all of these things. And just I wanted to put it up because I felt like this picture was similar to this. This is our son actually who's learning karate, and karate is actually more popular. It's a Japanese form of martial art which is extremely popular in India, and a lot of kids practice karate in India of late. Coming to some evidence-based medicine, as we call it, published literature. we are really way far away from publishing literature when we talk about yoga in child and adolescent mental health, or even for that matter, if you look at articles across the world that have been published on yoga in mental health itself, there are a very handful of them which have used good research methods in adequate number of participants, unfortunately. But many studies which are already published talk about how it can be effective in treating children with ADHD. Somebody was sharing with us just before this session of how yoga can help in autism spectrum disorder. A lot of kids with ASD, where it can facilitate neuroplasticity and enhance response to intervention. There are some studies, but very few in children and adolescents with intellectual disability, cerebral palsy, and the more severe motor forms of developmental delay, where yoga definitely can help. Probably the reason for this is, even though there are practitioners for yoga, it's harder for the trainers to do some of these things with children. Maybe the trainers are not adequately experienced to deliver these forms of practice to children with developmental disorders. And also in some way it is difficult for parents, considering all the other burden they have in the background, whether it's financial burden, the necessity to cater to these children in their homes on a daily basis for their self-help skills, for their schooling, and all of those extra caretaking burden that they face. So it might be difficult for them. Maybe that is why I think in literature a lot of these studies aren't really published. But what about other childhood mental health disorders? Of course, there are some studies which have been done in depression, in yoga, some studies in adults which talk about the effectiveness of yoga in schizophrenia as well. So I have 3 very brief case vignettes where I want to highlight our experiences of using yoga and yoga practices to treat children with mental health issues. So there was a 17-year-old boy who was referred to me, whose mother had died during the COVID second wave. And at that same time when his mother was severely sick and admitted in the ICU, he was also diagnosed with COVID and was in the ICU. So when his mother passed away, he wasn't able to get out of the hospital and fulfill the final rites and rituals of his mother's death. He was extremely disturbed by it after he was discharged, because he recovered, his mother didn't, and she passed away. And since then he had severe flashbacks, crying, low mood, lack of interest in studies, would prefer to stay alone. And he was introduced to a therapist. The therapist had started doing a lot of grief work as well with him. But after a period of time, even after giving him medication, it wasn't really helping him. So then we thought maybe we do an integrative approach. So along with that, we started introducing practices of breathing, meditation, and yoga. He was a dancer in childhood, so he was really interested to take up yoga as one of the augmentative interventions. And definitely over 1 or 2 months of time, we could see that it enhanced his mood. It resulted in faster withdrawal of medication. He didn't have to be on medication for a long time. And definitely he seemed to have long-term better prognosis because he was being accountable to these practices and he was enjoying doing these things. And after 3 months, we stopped his medication and continued to just do therapy and yoga and meditation practices for him. There was another 1-year-old, this was supposed to be 11-year-old, sorry for the typo. There was an 11-year-old with significant hyperactivity, ADHD diagnosis, very poor academic performance, but a very bright child. Because of his hyperactivity, it would cause a lot of interpersonal issues with his mother at home, because he was not listening, he had some oppositional defiant issues, they would have a chaotic home environment, mother had anger issues, and because of his diagnosis, she had also developed anxiety. How yoga helped here was not only for him but also for his mother. So we introduced yoga practice for him as well as his mother. Of course, he was on methylphenidate, and we did do a lot of environmental modification and home-based attention enhancing tasks introduction. We worked with the school and all of that, but we also started helping him with breathing practices, chanting of mantras, and yoga along with medication. So what happened was, after introducing the integrative approach, we came down. So he was on risperidone for his issues, sleep issues and behavioral issues, and on methylphenidate. So we pulled out risperidone. We hiked down the dose of methylphenidate. Now he's just on 5 milligram. and is actually doing very well just with all of these things. And even for his mother, introduction of yoga practice was something she really enjoyed because it helped her relax. Her stress levels were much reduced, and she was able to emotionally regulate herself and parent him in a better way. There was another 12-year-old girl who presented to me almost 7 years ago. Her parents had separated when she was 7, and there was an ongoing legal battle. So she was going through depression, and since 12 years of age was on antidepressant medication and also was on regular therapy. But what happened then was she got addicted to screen. Internet addiction was another diagnosis that came in, and she started writing a lot of poetry with significant content related to death and suicidal ideas. Now she's 19 years old, but what really helped her come out of all of this was, one, correction of her circadian rhythm. Because of her issues with screen addiction, she would stay awake till 4 a.m. in the morning and then wake up only by 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. We corrected that to begin with, really very slowly. We tried to reduce screen time, and yoga was introduced, and basically what happened was not just her mood improved and her stress responses were regulated better, but she also lost weight. She had PCOS, that got corrected, and this in turn, in some way, all of it put together, reduced her depressive symptoms. She was regulating her emotions better, her academics improved, and she's actually doing very well right now without any medication. So this was another child in whom we kind of broadened the integrative approach and brought in yoga into our practice as well. Apart from this, yoga also involves chanting mantras and a lot of activities related to music and concentration. So it has been shown in a lot of studies that passive listening versus active creativity, both of which have a very good impact on the process of awakening in children as well as improving concentration. And especially for parents, I'm not going to really dwell upon this because Mayur emphasized it over and over again, how important it is to lead by a healthy lifestyle and example and create a nurturing environment. But I don't know if you've all watched the movie Lion King. Anybody here who hasn't watched Lion King? I don't think so. So I'm just going to play this clip. I don't know if internet is going to work, but I'll just try. Okay, what does it say? Will this play? No internet. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you've all seen the clip from the Lion King movie where Mufasa will actually tell Simba how we are all connected and we are one with the nature, and how he models Simba to grow up and become a good king by himself. So this is just a 1-minute clip that was going to show that, but that's okay. Now, why it is also important to introduce yoga in schools. So maybe individually, a lot of parents do not have access to yoga and yogic practices, but can we introduce yoga in schools? And I know a lot of Indian schools of late, especially after the International Day of Yoga was introduced, they have started integrating yoga in schools, and it's a part of their morning assembly before they start their class that they do yoga. So again, this was a picture when we were hiking to Mount Kuruma that I took. You can see here that there are a couple of lone hikers, and then there are a group of people who are all really enthusiastic and walking together, right? So basically that's what happens. You're broadly benefiting the school mental health system, and when yoga is introduced overall, it kind of creates a support system in the school. It improves resilience, mood and self-regulation in children. And group interventions, definitely we have seen from literature, are far more effective than doing it one-on-one. In schools, even for younger classes in India, now there are yoga sessions that are there, but from class 5 up to university level onwards, regular yoga sessions have become almost part of every school system. It, of course, teaches them self-discipline. It also is more about making children understand how they have to be self-disciplined by themselves than enforcing outer discipline and them doing yoga just because the school is asking them to do yoga, right? So it's also very important to train teachers, have inspiring teachers, supportive parents, as well as nurturing environment to bring all of these things together. I just Googled, and this is one of the things that I love to do in the clinic. That I always, one of the last things that I do with children who come to me is, do you have any extracurricular activities that you learn or practice on a daily basis? yeah, you go to school, you love finishing your homework, you're very good at math, you're very good at language, but do you have a hobby or a passion that you pursue which you really love? And this is also something that I ask parents who come. Is there something that you love to do, which probably when you were 19 years old or 20 years old, you were doing, but after you caught up with your profession and you're so busy and you're a parent, you kind of have lost touch with your passion. So introduce some of these things into their daily routine. And I just Googled and said Asian yoga and martial arts, and there's one or the other form of art in every single Asian country. And just on the picture you can see Indonesia, India, Thailand, Japan, China, each and every country in Asia has one or the other form of martial art. And this is again a Western term when we say martial art. It's more a traditional form that we've been all practicing for many years. So integrating all of these things into their daily life definitely can enhance mental health in children and adolescents. A couple of my colleagues were supposed to join us for the talk today, but they weren't able to because of funding issues and their own commitments in India. But I just put up a couple of points from their abstracts as well. Kavita is somebody who's working and using yoga to deal with grief among children in one of the tertiary care centers in Bangalore. And her PhD student, Asim, is also using yoga as a solution-oriented coping strategy in parents who are catering to children with severe mental illness. So these are a couple of studies that are currently ongoing in Bangalore with our colleagues as well. So thank you for your kind attention. A simple take home is, again, life is a journey to be experienced and not to be, it's not a problem to be solved, right? And if you focus on what you left behind, we never will see what lies ahead. So with this, I would like to conclude our session today. We are happy to take any questions, though we just have about 3 minutes time, and if any of you want to move on to the next hall, you're happy to do so, but we are here for another 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions that you may have. We would love to hear from all of you about your experiences, so if not today, please write to us. We would love to hear about your experiences. We are also looking at opening up to further collaborations, whether it is scientific studies to look at some of these things, finding opportunities to do these kind of studies in other countries where culturally all of these things are far more accepted. We don't want to do it in a really methodological, with a lot of focus on methodology, but more in terms of service and outcome for families and children and adolescents themselves. So we're happy to answer any other questions. Otherwise, if any of you come to India, most welcome. Please write to us and we'd be happy to meet you if you anytime have an opportunity to visit India or Bangalore. Thank you so much.
I have question to Mayur.
Yeah, sure.
One is he used the term cultivate about child rearing. So cultivate, is that appropriate word? That is why. Did you use cultivate equivalent to rearing? So that I had some reservation about that word. And the other thing is, you said that writing is good. You should not lose that. It gives neuroplasticity. True, but same when we type, that also needs some skills, which is also difficult. Like I am good at writing, but I could never pick up speed in typing. So means that needs skill, and that also gives neuroplasticity to brain. Like these days, Google was easy, that somebody has made it and you could rely to some extent on that. And then now when chat GPT, you have to apply your own brain that this machine synthesis is right or not. That again needs higher skill, that you need more neuroplasticity to use. So leaving something and joining something which is more difficult, it needs more neuroplasticity, I believe, because I feel incompetent in many ways using all these. So my query to you.
Definitely, sir. We are in the midpoints, different midpoints. like you are there, we are here, and then we have children who are there. So all three generations we are able to see, and the mobile we have also started using 1 decade before. Before that, when we were children, we did not have mobiles. So when touchscreen mobile came, it was difficult for me also to adjust to that. But over a period of last 1 decade, I have become an expert in that. Now coming to the question of yours, that neuroplasticity, there will always be a difference in what we do in terms of creativity. When we are having a pen in our hand, there is something called as calligraphy. So now calligraphy, you cannot simulate. Yes, you can type, and different types of what do you call, fonts are there. But recreating that font with your own hand has another level of expertise, and it gives you a different kind of experience, which cannot be matched with just typing. I can type beautifully in a very nice font. I can type Times New Roman or something, calligraphy, some different kind of flavor. I type, and within few minutes it will be finished. Yes, definitely my time will be saved. But did I become more conscious? Did I enjoy that typing? All these things are definitely there. And when we talk about, see, all of us like creativity, and the creative space helps us to become one with so many other things around us. And when we see a creative expression, we enjoy and we admire that as a human being more than just a technological input. So I feel that combination of both the things is always going to be, it is always going to be, both the things combining together will be better. And if we are an expert, if I am good typing also, and I am good calligraphy expert also, so then it is
Better.
Yeah. And another thing, I think you asked about using technology. So using technology is like learning, it's a learning process. Anything has a learning curve.
Yes.
So when I am becoming a neurosurgeon, so I have to, first I start with a burr hole, then I start doing small craniotomies, then I start doing neuroendoscopy work, then I start doing functional neurosurgery work and all these things. Everything is a learning curve. So in technology aspect also, once you start putting hours, we call it 10,000 hours rule. So when we start putting hours into our learning, active learning, means sir, it is not about you. You asked with your own example, but I am telling that it is in general. Many of us, we put hours, but how many conscious hours are put into that? Some people, they go for playing badminton or playing karate or something. They just go because their parents are sending. They just go, they come back sweating, and they have not learned anything, they have not refined their technique. So it's all about refining the techniques. Even in cricket also, cricket is very famous in India. The bowling, the batting, very minor problems, Virat Kohli gets out to a particular bowler. But then he has to study it, then he has to improvise, oh, this ball comes like this and I have to play like this. Then the technique is, he has to put hours off the field also and on the field also. Then he is able to improvise his work. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If anybody else has questions, we'll just take it outside the room to facilitate the next session being administered. Thank you once again.
Thank you once again. Thank you.
Very nice session. Thank you. Very enriching.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much. Upcoming sessions will be in our
I have your card.
of issue. That's the room made